Hi friends, it is time for another naked truth. I'm in Mexico at Rodaya Yoga School and I've been given this beautiful cabana to film in, which has a view of the ocean that direction, but if I film that way you can't see my face because all the sunlight's going in there. This is another naked truth. I'm going to reiterate why I do these videos naked. There's quite a few reasons. One I've expressed before is vulnerability. If I'm going to be really honest and I'm going to be really open, I don't want any of the labels that society gives me, such as clothes, to get in the way. They become part of our mask, part of our makeup. Like, you can say so many things with clothes and I don't want to do that, so there is no clothes. The other thing is that I haven't liked my body for a lot of my life, and now I feel really confident with my body, and I want to just let other people know that they can do that as well, and that for years the thought of anyone seeing me naked or anyone seeing me without makeup was like, oh my god, the scariest thing ever. And now I'm sitting here doing a YouTube video naked. Life changes, and yeah, and we progress, and the things we thought we could never do, we find out, you know what, I can actually do them. Brilliant. Today's naked truth, I wanted to talk about bulimia. I've mentioned it in some of my other videos and said that I suffered with bulimia, and I did suffer with bulimia for 10 years. That's a long time. From the age of 15 to 25 I was varying levels of bulimic. There was a time in my life where my bulimia was so bad that I was probably spending around £200 to £250 a week on food. That's £1,000 a month. That's not that far off a drug habit, but I was spending that going to supermarkets. I would buy so much food, and sometimes this was happening 1, 2, 3 times a day. I would literally eat until I couldn't stand up anymore, and then I would throw up. And I think that this is now renamed as purging if you do that, but when I was younger and this was happening to me, it was all bulimia. It was all under the same umbrella. This started when I was a kid. I was bullied for being fat at secondary school by the boys, who were just like, oh, you're so fat, you're a fat bitch, blah 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 blah. And I think they were kind of joking, and you know me, I like to pretend I'm quite tough, so I was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And I'd go home every night and I would cry. And then when I got to 14, it was the summer holidays, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to start a new school because I'd moved house with my parents. I need to sort myself out. So my parents didn't really know what I was eating or what I wasn't eating, so I just ate an apple and a piece of toast a day. And I lost quite a lot of weight, and when I went to my new school it was like, yeah, we like Clara, she's really cool. And it probably was for other reasons, but in my head I was like, they like me because I'm thinner than I used to be, because I've lost weight, and that's why they like me, so I need to stay this way. And there was another girl in my class who told me that at the weekends her and another girl had eaten loads of food and then thrown it up, and that idea just got in my head. So when this first started to happen, I'd eat what I would normally eat on a normal day, and then I'd throw it up, and I lost a lot of weight, and I got very thin, and I looked awful. Looking back at the pictures now, I just looked awful. I looked like just skin and bones. But what happened is I lost control. I completely lost control, and honestly, when I say this, I wanted it to stop. I had had enough. I didn't want to do it anymore, but I was completely out of control. So instead of just eating what I'd normally eat, I would now eat more and more and more and more food, because it was the food and eating the food that was giving me comfort, that was making me feel better, because I was really unhappy. I was really having a bit of a tough time with loads of different aspects of my life, and food made me feel better. When I was 18, my dad found out that I was making myself sick and told me that I needed to go and see a counsellor, a therapist, so I did. Unfortunately, the therapist turned out to not be very good, and to just want to talk to me about her daughter who had an eating disorder, so it didn't really go very well. And then it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's like a self-perpetuating circle, because it made me feel worse about myself, so then I wouldn't want to do things, I wouldn't want to go anywhere, I wouldn't want to, you know, think about career or any of those things. And I'd let people down, and that would make me feel worse, so I just want to eat more food. And it was just this cycle all the time. And if I felt like I'd eaten something I shouldn't eat, I would cancel plans with people, I wouldn't go out, I wouldn't do anything. And this went on for years and years and years. I went to see another therapist and I stuck with her for quite a long time, but I just felt like I was going there and just telling her what had happened, and then she'd be like, right. And it was like, right, so what, you know, but what do I do? How am I going to stop this? Put her hair stuck under my sweaty boob. I remember, oh, it's horrible. I remember reading on the internet that there is no cure for bulimia, and that really upset me, and I was devastated when I read that, and I was like, shh, this is going to be with me forever, I'm never going to get over it, blah 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 blah. What started to happen is that I was so sick of it, and I was so sick of being this depressive mess who I just didn't know whether I was coming or going or what I was doing. That whole part of my life is just like, oh, this fog, and it was just like, it was crazy. And when my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer, that's when it really went boom. You know, it's like, you have to sort this out, because she's got a disease that she didn't choose, that who knows what's going to happen, and you're harming yourself, you're doing that to yourself. So I really had to start trying to rebuild my relationship with me to be able to start putting in place the strength that I needed to be able to not be sick. And it's a gradual process, and it was like 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, 3 steps forward, 10 steps back. But eventually I started to take more steps forward than I took back, and eventually what I had to do was to learn to live with the fact that I'd eaten too much food, because what needed to stop was me making myself sick. It was getting to the point where my nose would bleed, my eyes would get bloodshot, I'd have blood coming up from my throat, some of my teeth had broken, because that's another thing with bulimia, because you have so much stomach acid in your mouth, and also you're eating so much crap all the time that it's just terrible. Find a way, and the way that I found a way was that sometimes I would eat way too much, and it would normally be the point where I would go and make myself sick, but I would stop myself. And I would stop myself because I knew, and I reassured myself, that if you do not stop this cycle, you're never going to stop, and it's going to continue, and it's going to continue, and it's going to continue. I read books, I read blogs, and I started to talk to people. I've said this in my depression video as well. I started to talk to people, and that was a big deal, because before it had been like my secret and I didn't want to tell anyone, and etc etc. But I got so sick of it, and I was so ready to get rid of it, that I needed to start discussing things with other people. And when you do that, you start to find out, maybe someone else's sister, maybe someone else that you know has experienced these things, and then they can help you because they'd learned stuff, and they can tell you what they'd learned, and then you start to understand more and more and more and more, and you start to get more and more and more strength. I just didn't want to do it anymore, and I just had to get really tough. And for a long time I would only eat certain things because that's the only way I could not be sick. But now I can eat anything and I don't care anymore. I never get that feeling where I'm like, uh-oh, you know, I feel really guilty, or I feel really bad, or I feel really unhappy. I think that there's a lot of misconceptions, like, oh, she's just making herself sick because she wants to be skinny. I originally, it was to do with that, but for me, skinniness had become everything. Skinniness had become how I was going to be popular, how I was going to have friends, how I was going to be successful, how I was going to be happy, how I was going to be loved, how I was going to be cared for, how I was going to be noticed. So it's not just about the shape of your body. Attached to this image of what you can be is all of these things. Success. I mean, in my head, I couldn't be successful unless I was skinny, so I had to do it. And then, because I had started doing it, it had control of me. It was this pattern that I'd got myself into, like somebody who cannot give up smoking. It was an addiction, because when I was unhappy, to eat all of that food, all of it, it made me feel full, it made me feel warm, and it made me feel comforted. And that's why I did it. But then came the fear, I'm gonna get fat, I'm gonna get fat, then people aren't gonna like me, I'm never gonna have a boyfriend, I'm never gonna be successful, I'm never gonna be loved. And so would come the next step. And it's a horrible thing to be stuck in, because you know what, all of those beliefs that are attached to being skinny are all bullshit. They're all untrue and they're not real. They're stupid. But we live in a society that reinforces those beliefs over and over and over and over and over again. So for me now, as a grown woman, I feel that it is really important for me to share my story with people. I feel that it's really important to share with people that you can overcome it and you can get over it. But it's like with everything, there is no miracle cure for these things. If it's taking you years to get somewhere, it's going to take you a little while to get out. So be patient. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself and be loving to yourself. Remember that this body is the body that allows you to do so much and is going to continue to allow you to do so much. So be kind to it, be gentle with it, be friends with it, treat it nicely. Stop being so horrible to your own self, to your own body. Stop treating it in ways you'd never treat anybody else. If you're somebody who knows somebody who's suffering bulimia, or you meet somebody who is, or anorexia, or any other eating disorder, understand that this really has nothing to do with just being skinny or just being fat or having the perfect body. It has to do with the attachments that come to having the perfect body, and those are what they're someone's selling you a dream that doesn't exist. It's not real. What I've learned and what I've realized is that the best thing you can do in these situations from talking to other people is to just work on yourself. There isn't a miracle cure out there. Being skinny or being fat isn't going to determine whether your life is happy, filled with joy, or successful, filled with love. What's going on in here is going to determine that. So I just wanted to kind of let people know a little bit more about what bulimia is, how it controlled my life, and also that you can get over it and you can be super happy as well. Thanks for watching. This was the naked truth. Naked. Please make sure you like, share and subscribe. I think that's right. I haven't done this for a while. I'm confused.